Good morning. Welcome to our Wednesday workshop for this week. My name is Stephanie and I work here at Be So Creative here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I want to say thank you for joining us today and I hope that you're going to like what I have for you. You know, it's hard to believe that June is almost over and July is so fast approaching on us. And one of my favorite times of the year is July the 4th because I am so appreciative of my freedom and I'm thankful for those who have fought for it and are still fighting for it. And I just love to decorate a little bit in my house. So, with July fast approaching, I needed a quick and easy project because right now I have shambles at my house because I have my daughter moving in as she's getting ready to move out because her husband is military and they are being transferred. So I didn't have a lot of time, and so I found this great little project, and this is called our Patriotic flag wall hanging. So this is really kind of fun. It's super easy. It's got a star, it's got our red, white, and blue, and on the back it's got a little bit of a hanger for us. So if you want a quick little project, I have one for you. So we will have the instructions for our little project on our website, and it'll be our patriotic wall hanging. And it is a free pattern that we are providing for you. So the materials are listed, and we have gotten all our materials ready. We got our 4.5-inch piece of white material, and that is going to be used for our star. We had two of our strips of white material that we would be using for our stripes on our flag, and we also had our red material stripes that we will be using as well. Our little strips are cut 1.5 by 19.5 inches, and we are just going to sew them together, starting with the red and the white. Okay, so when you sew them together, it's red, white, red, white, red. And when you sew these little guys together, you are going to use a 1/4 inch seam. And when you get ready to iron them open, you are going to iron towards the dark. So you put your 5 little strips together, and then you are going to have a unit that looks just like this, and you want to even out the top. In our instructions, we have a 5.5 by 5.5 blue square, and you would just place it right on top of your unit, do a 1/4 inch seam across, and then you want to iron it to the dark. So I've got everything pressed, and I want to go ahead and tidy up the bottom of my little unit. And the next thing I need to think about is how am I going to place my star onto my blue area? I take my little 5.5, this one is my 4.5 inch piece of white material, and I ironed on a square of heat and bond. So heat and bond has a fusible, two fusible sides. So I ironed it on, and when I get ready, I will pull that paper off, and then I can iron it onto my blue square. I took my little star template, I drew my star on my heat and bond, and then I cut my star out. With my star cut out, I'm going to peel that little paper off. Of course, it's going to take longer because you're watching. And I don't think I even have a pin here. And I'm going to look so good on this camera. So you're going to peel it off, and then it's ready to go ahead and fuse on. To get the proper placement, I had to find the middle of my blue square. So I measured here and I measured here. So I marked my center top and bottom, and I marked my center side to side. Because then I want to take my star and I want to place it in the center. And I like it that way. So you can fuss with it until you get it how you like it. And once it's on there, Then you can go ahead and iron it. It looks a little crooked, but you can get it ironed on however you want. Once you iron it on, then you need to decide how are you going to sew on this one. On my little one here, I just did a straight stitch all around the edge of the star to hold that one on. And I'm a glitter girl, so my little star was out of glitter. After that's put on, then I wanted to make sure that I got my hanger prepared. On the back, I had made a little hanger, and that hanger is made out of a 4.5 inch by 3.5 inch square. So I have two of them, one that's made and one to show you how I made it. So I got my fabric and I folded it over on the edges, ironed it, and I just took a seam. And I did use red thread, so it's a little bit easier to see. If you want to double fold, you can. I just did a single fold. Then you're going to do right sides together, up this way, make it on the long way, and then you would sew it across the top with a 1/4 inch seam. After you get that sewn, you're going to turn it inside out, and then you're going to press it. And I pressed this one with my seam in the middle of the back. Then I'm going to save this for later. I've got my star put on. My unit is ready to quilt. I've cut my backing, and my backing was 26.5 by 8 inches, and I've cut a piece of batting. So I want to make a quilt sandwich. So you can either spray baste all of these together, or you can pin it, whichever one you want to do. So you can put that down and then put your flag on it. And before you have a choice, you can get this all down and then decide how you're going to quilt it, or you can draw a pattern on it before you make your quilt sandwich. On this little guy, I decided I wanted to do waves. So I did waves right here, and I just chalked it on with one of my markers, and then I just followed it with my walking foot on my machine, and I wanted to have my flag look like it was blowing in the wind. Where my star was, it's easier to see in the back, but it looks really messy. Um, I did a crosshatch pattern in the back. So what I did was I drew my lines and I left the chalk mark on it so maybe you could see it. So I did my little crosshatch, and then on some of the spaces I just went around the star and hooked up to the other line. So I did crosshatch up here and I did waves down here. Once you have your pattern drawn on that and you make your quilt sandwich and you pin it or you spray baste it, you get it sewn. Once it's all sewn, then you want to trim this up, and the size on it, you can just, whatever it turns out is what it turns out. Then I cut some binding, and my binding was cut at 2.5 inches. And I really liked the firecrackers, and so I just used my little firecracker material, and I went ahead and started to attach my binding. When I do my binding, I sew it on the front and flip it to the back, and I hand sew it. When you do that with your hanger, when you're attaching the binding first, put your little hanger up there and then sew your binding on, and then when it flips over to however you do it, I hand sewed mine. Then when you flip it over, then I hand sewed it there. I sewed it down on the sides, and then I can have a little hanger for it, and I sewed on the bottom. So once you do all that, your little hanger is all done and it's ready to hang up. So this is a great stash buster, but just in case you're missing that red, white, and blue and you wish, boy, I wish they had a kit for that, we do. If you're interested in our little kit, we have a kit for sale for $21.99. It has everything you need to make this little wall hanging with, including batting, and the best part, the little firecracker hanger. So, if you're interested in this, you can order it online or give us a call at the store and we will get it shipped out to you. And if you don't need any of this stuff, you have the free pattern ready. And I hope you enjoy making this and I hope that you have a safe and amazing 4th of July. So, from us here at Be So Creative, happy stitching and thanks for joining us. Bye bye.